Yes, education, I love it and I enjoy it. That was my honest response to the question of a friend of mine. I also believe we have thousands of people who enjoyed what they studied in school or what course they're studying in school at the moment. I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we also have thousands of people who never for once enjoyed what they studied in school or what they studied in school right now. But guess what? This is what I've come to address in this video. When you find yourself studying a course that never for once interests you, what should you do? Should you pack your things and leave? Should you remain? Should you endure? I'm going to be sharing my own experience back then as an undergraduate. How I struggled continuously between education and nursing. How I never wanted education. How I fought for nursing. Was my fight a successful one? Sit back, because this is what I'm going to be sharing. You know, when it comes to issues like this, we actually have various schools of thoughts. The first school of thought believe that you shouldn't even be studying a course you're not interested in studying in the first place. Yes, all they tell you is find every possible means to leave that course. These people say it's only a waste of time, effort, and resources studying a course that will give you no fulfillment and no satisfaction at all. The second school of thought believe that when you find yourself studying a course that never for once interests you, just do it. Whether or not you're interested in the course, nobody cares. All we care for is the certificate. Whether you come out with a pass, a credit, or distinction, all they say is the reason we go to school is just to have certificates, and whether or not you enjoy the course, no one cares. The third school of thought believe that when you find yourself studying a course that never for once interests you, why not give it your all, since that is all you have at the moment? These people back it up with the word, whatever the hands find to do, do it with all thy might. And that's why they advise people to always give it their best and give it the whole, whether or not they enjoy the course. I don't know, what's your own school of thoughts? Do you have any different thoughts entirely? Please do well to share with us in the comment section. Let's know what's your thoughts, what's your take on this. Let's quickly take a dive into what we have to say in this video. Like I said, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we have thousands of people who never for once enjoyed what they studied in school. And the truth is, these people are not to be blamed, in any way. We have some set of students that are not confused. They know what they want. They know what course they want to study. But the yearly frustration they encounter at the point of seeking admission is something that we need to address. This frustration on yearly basis is due to no other reason than a placement of high cutoff mark on the course they really intend study, and as such they are not able to get to study the course they really intend to study. Yes, the second set of students I'm going to talk about are the confused set of students. They don't know what they should study and what not to study. They are so confused, and this confusion they take to cyber cafe at the point of registration. And because of this confusion on their faces, cafe operators are left with no other option than to assist them pick a course to study. My question is, does it mean these people are not coming from a home? Or does it mean the cafe operators know them more better than their parents? Or does it mean by the time they're giving admission to study that course, the cafe operators will be there to study the course for them? These are questions I keep asking myself, and the answers of which I never get. I think I need to come in at this point. Parents, it's high time we step in. Let's guide our children. Let's help them as regarding picking a course to study. As much as we don't want parents to be too decisive when it comes to picking a course for their children, that doesn't mean parents should not be involved in guiding children pick a course. Of course, you know them more better. You can always tell them, do you know you're good in this? Do you know you are good in that? Why not go for this? Yes, that's part of the guidance we're talking about. So at that point, at least this will reduce the level of confusion among students. So back to my own story of how I battled continuously between education and nursing, how I never wanted education, how I kept putting in for nursing. I remember at that point, I was already given admission to study education. I never wanted to go. After much persuasion, after much consideration and all that, I reluctantly went. So I just went, on the ground that, oh, let me not sit down at home doing nothing. Let me just go. At least I went. On going, my mind wasn't there. So I kept on putting in for nursing. I kept on sitting for the examination. I remember the first entrance examination I sat for, I failed. The second year too, I tried it again. I also failed. But the third time, I remember the second time I failed. Immediately I got home that day, I picked my phone. I was like, is there any other school selling form at that time? Luckily for me, I found one. So the next day, the following day, I traveled down to that school to obtain the form. On the day of the entrance examination, I went and I sat for the examination. It was in another state, so luckily for me at that time, I had a relative in that same state and that same location where the school was situated. So I stayed there all through the examinations. After that, we sat for the written interview and the oral interview. All this I passed. I was so sure that by God's will I was going to be picked, because at the point of the oral interview, should I call them the panel now? The people interviewing us, they were like, oh, the performance and all that. So all those things were already ringing in my head. I was like, oh, I will be chosen. I was anxious and anticipating. Just to go back home that the successful candidate will be called upon. So I went back to school happy and excited. I don't know the right word now, like excited is an understatement. Yes, if you have another word, just give me. So I traveled back and I was expecting the call. I waited. I think waiting for a day at that time was like waiting for months. Yes, I waited, I think for a month. No, I didn't wait for a month. I waited for a week plus. So after waiting, I didn't see their call. A lot of things came to my mind. I was like, doesn't mean these people misplaced my phone number, or doesn't mean they were trying to get through to me and my network, my line wasn't going through, or they mistakenly called the wrong person or tested the wrong person. So a lot of things are coming to my mind other than the fact that I wasn't chosen, I wasn't picked. So I traveled down to the school. Can you imagine? Yes, I had to travel down to the school, and I was like, just to find out what the problem is, that maybe they made a mistake, they forgot me. Upon getting to the school, I met with the admin. He said yes. So at that point, the woman took her time to explain. Before explaining, she went inside to check my file. She went in, checked the file, and came back. Told me that, okay, you passed the oral interview, you passed very well, you had a very high score. But for the written interview and the entrance examination, your score wasn't really that high. So by the time we collated all the scores together, added it together, it was not really high. So we had to choose from the top scorers, of which you were not part. So at that point, I knew what she meant. I knew I needed nobody to tell me my fate. I wasn't chosen. At that point, a lot of things ran through my mind. Are we going to talk about the stress? Are we going to talk about everything? I wasn't happy. I wasn't just myself all through the period of this journey. It was at that point I needed to accept and embrace education. I had no other option. I had no other choice than to face it and face it squarely. Are you like me? Finding yourself studying a course that never for once interests you. You don't know what to do. That is why I'm here. That is what I've come to address. When you find yourself in this situation, I've been there. At that point, I needed nobody to tell me that I should embrace what I had. I embraced it. I accepted it. That's just what I've come to advise you on. So why not accept it? Have you ever taken your time to think of this? The same way we have thousands of people who had the opportunity to study the course they really intend studying. The same way, we also have thousands of people who doesn't have the opportunity to study the course they really intend to study. And you know, the same way, we have thousands of people, despite the fact that they have all what it takes, they are being denied admission. And they keep putting in, year out, but they never secure this admission. And you are there brooding over the fact that you find yourself studying a course that never interests you, when some people are there even praying to have one, but they don't. Why not accept this and be grateful to God for this? Be grateful to Him. Most times we want God to just take us out of the circumstance we find ourselves. Why not pray in God into the circumstance and just allow Him to give you that peace, and just allow Him to come in? What if this is where you're supposed to be? What if God decided to just push this situation and this circumstance at you just because of the love He has for you? He doesn't want you to miss where He wants you to be. Most times, because we fail to ask Him, He's our creator, we fail to ask Him, and we try pushing away some things out of our life. But because of the fact that He loves us, He doesn't want us to make mistake. He keeps pushing it back at us. And you know, the funniest thing is, the more you try to leave, it's still going to come back to you. Why not learn to accept it? Accept the circumstance you find yourself in, because Napoleon Hill said something. He said, in every negative circumstance, there's always an element of good in it. If only you can look critically into the situation, you will find an element of good. So why not look critically into it and figure out that element of good lying patiently for people that can see. Yes, most times we think success is all about what we have, what we acquire, but no, success is all about who you are becoming. So what are you becoming as a result of this situation? Are you becoming better or bittered? Don't get bitter because you're studying a course that doesn't interest you. Why not get better by changing your mindset and attitude towards it? Pray that God comes into the situation and make you that better person, and make you that best, in order for you to see that best He has prepared for you in this circumstance. That's what I've come to share with you today on Educational Watch. Oluwaseun is my name, and if you find this whole concept resonating, please don't hesitate. Hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and share the video. Thank you very much. See you in my next video.